The NFL draft is over, and now dynasty gamers are gushing over these rookie running backs and their landing spots. But should they be? Let's find out. What's up, folks, and welcome back to the channel. I'm Liss, a dynasty podcaster and content creator, and boy, do I have a spicy one for you today. But before we start breaking hearts right here on this show, if you are not already a subscriber to this channel, then do me a favor, hit the subscribe button down below and join the party, because I think we're winning some fantasy titles this year. Now, lastly, if you are a fantasy football addict who just can't seem to consume enough fantasy content, then may I introduce you to the dynastyrankings.com Discord server. We have over 600 members, and they are talking football day and night. I mean, honestly, this app, it never shuts off. Now, I must admit, I've been blown away by the hype, because you'd swear that the 2022 rookie running back class was that of the 2017 running back class. People are literally climbing over one another to get their hands on one of these rookie runners. Meanwhile, I'm just sitting here like, why? Because there hasn't been a class that's quite this top-heavy since the Todd Gurley and Melvin Gordon version when they entered the league in 2015. But despite the fact that 0 running backs went in the first round, optimism at the position is weirdly high. I'm not saying people are overly confident. No, I'm saying that people are overextending themselves to best case scenario further than we've ever seen before. And it's not long before that fails. So today I want to break down some of the most important names in this draft class and attempt to expose all the warts about their NFL situations that has me running the other direction in every rookie draft that I've entered. And that definitely includes dynasty startups. So with that said, let's just jump right in. Now, I don't see this as much of a debate, but the number one back in this class is unanimously Breece Hall, right? After not landing in Buffalo, many of us were rightfully disappointed, but truth be told, the New York Jets are actually a decent landing spot of their own. After finishing with a top 11 offensive line grade in 2021, the Jets look primed to take a step forward with Zach Wilson in this new look passing offense. And there wasn't a better running back option than Breece Hall to pull this putrid offense from the NFL's lowest in team rush attempts to something much greater in 2022. Breece's combination of explosive run rate and top 7 collegiate force missed tackle rate will be a welcome asset to an offense that's been devoid of anything close to a Saquon Barkley level talent since, well, Curtis Martin? And the same way that Najee Harris was deployed in a beyond feature role, very well may be something we can expect to see from Breece Hall as well. As this Jets team spent multiple early selections on defense attempting to shore up its weakest link, there's a chance that playing closer football games in 2022 means Breece Hall will benefit from something better than what Michael Carter, the RB32 in game script, saw last season. Oh yeah, what about Michael Carter? Don't the Jets love him? Yes, the Jets love him and his 4th round draft capital so much that they went out and drafted a bigger, faster, more elusive, more explosive, more dominant runner than the franchise has had in nearly 20 years. All jokes aside, Michael Carter won't be completely erased, but he's no longer startable in any format. Oh, Kenneth Walker. As a Seahawks fan, this one hit especially close to home. Take Rachaad Penny, for instance. I mean, nothing says we don't believe in the mirage that you threw together in 4 games during your 4th season more than drafting one of college football's all-time greatest rushers after contact. If you didn't already know this, if you just took Kenneth Walker's 1,168 yards after contact in 2021, he would still have ranked inside the top 30 rushers in the country last season. But all people want to talk about is his lack of passing game usage, which admittedly was low as illuminated by his 32nd percentile 5.4% college target share. And the fact that people think that Pete Carroll and John Schneider are getting canned next year. So let me make a few points. Number 1, in the Pete Carroll era, the most receptions any running back has ever had is 37. So if your argument is that Kenneth Walker isn't a decorated pass catcher, then I still think he landed in the right offense. Number 2, not only are Chris Carson and Rachaad Penny always injured, but both players are almost certainly not on this roster after 2022, which makes a ton of sense why Seattle made this move when they really didn't need a running back at all. Number 3, and this is important. To the people concerned about Pete Carroll and John Schneider getting canned at the end of next season and the coaching staff that comes in not showing an allegiance to Kenneth Walker, that doesn't happen to good players. Aren't we all head over heels for Travis Etienne in 2022? Isn't he the remainder of a prior coaching staff and coming off of a serious injury? It's a straw man argument, and we're throwing it away. Walker is arguably the best pure runner in this class, and despite all the concerns surrounding Seattle, I refuse to fade talented players when situations change so quickly. And nobody is potentially set to see a change faster and more significant than what we might see in Seattle. And now we're in the This is where you trade out of these picks. I don't care if you think your back is against the wall. The risk is just too high right here. So cue Rachaad White, an explosive, elite pass-catching, featured-size runner who was drafted and is now stuck behind an explosive, elite pass-catching, feature-size runner in Leonard Fournette. Here's the biggest of concerns for me with White, though. Number one, Leonard Fournette has not only been fantastic throughout his career in fantasy football, but his contract has him signed for 3 more years with no realistic out until after his very last season in 2024, when his dead cap space finally drops down to around $1.6 million. So at a minimum, he's going to be an absolute roadblock for dynasty owners who have Rachaad White on their rosters. Just ask Keyshawn Vaughn. Number two, if you haven't seen the scouting reports on Rachaad White, he might not be the draft's best pass protector. And I can tell you for a fact that Tampa Bay just happens to have a quarterback who is in no way, shape, or form willing to put up with whiffs in pass protection when he's fresh off of a 3-month retirement and re-entering the league for his 54th season at age 185. The other issue with White's profile is that he's almost exclusively a premier receiver, with very little added as a rusher. He's not elusive by the advanced metrics, he's not good at pass pro, and he is buried for at least 2 seasons on this roster, at which point he will be 25 years old. So unless Tampa Bay plans to convert him to wideout to help solve some of their injury issues on the outside, I would leave this future headache to literally anybody else in your fantasy league. Now, I've been looking forward to mentioning James Cook literally the entire time I've been recording this, and if you didn't already know this by his last name, he's not a chef. It's not like Bob the Builder. It's not describing his profession if you didn't know this. So thank God we have people on social media to point out the truly important facts that define a player's potential. Let me read this tweet because it is awesome. And it reads, I think James Cook will be used as a part-time slot receiver in a top 3 passing offense. He has the upside to shoulder the load should Singletary not be re-signed. His brother is Dalvin Cook. That's one I'm just simply not overthinking. This whole tweet should be framed. In fact, I think I am going to frame it. I'm going to put it up over on the wall somewhere behind me. But Buffalo was an A-plus landing spot for Breece Hall. Being a sub 200-pound running back on an offense that constantly plays with the lead and ranks inside the bottom 4 in the league last season in running back target share at 15.4% is a bad look. And if Johnny Strawberry is wrong and Buffalo does re-sign Devin Singletary, then this situation worsens even further. But let's not forget 2 final important pieces. Number 1, James Cook is in no way an elite prospect, and if we combine the past 3 draft classes, he would actually rank probably outside the top 15 or 18 options. And number 2, only 11 running backs in 2021 had a snap share over 65%. So at best, his opportunity is low volume, and that includes all the rush attempts that are going to be stolen by Josh Allen. Then lastly, just because his brother is a dominant professional athlete does not guarantee he is going to be a superstar himself. Just ask Jackson Mahomes. Which brings us to Dameon Pierce, or as I like to call him, half-speed Chris Carson. Now, while his advanced metrics are unbelievable, his collegiate usage and athletic profile are just the opposite. I mean, when the consensus 5th best back in the running back class is a 4th-round NFL pick, you know we've hit rock bottom. But he landed in Houston, and now he's the biggest thing there since the belt buckles. Yet Pierce did finish the 2021 season per PFF as a top 12 in yards after contact, number 1 overall in elusive rating, and number 3 in missed tackles forced per attempt. On top of all of this, he had a 100% catch rate and a top 3 overall yards per route run in college football. He can truly do everything, but he's a 4th-round pick who was mildly used in college, who landed behind one of the worst offensive lines in all of football, and based on his profile will almost assuredly end up a patchwork running back in a committee, which is about as useful as
a cock-flavored lollipop.
Now, after recovering from 2 ACL tears, Zamir White managed to show out at the NFL Combine and secure day 2 draft capital. And landing in Las Vegas was truly a decent spot. A quality quarterback, tons of passing game weapons, an evolving franchise. What could go wrong, am I right? Well, unfortunately for White, despite the Raiders passing on Josh Jacobs' 5th-year option, there's still a 50-50 or better chance that they do extend him in 2023. And even Jacobs, who had a stranglehold on the starting job last season, saw less than a 65% snap share. So what are the odds that Zamir White is the answer? Well, after 2 ACL tears, securing just 16 receptions across his entire college career, being perpetually locked up into a timeshare, and ranking nearly outside the top 50 in breakaway run rate in college, things may get a little hairy at the next level. The biggest concern here is that Vegas already committed to the pass, and that was before they added Davante Adams. After ranking number 7 in total pass attempts in 2021, I find it hard to believe that Zamir White finds his way onto the field in a capacity any bigger than a 40% snap share type role in 2022. And because he is the definition of a 0 as a pass catcher, I wouldn't be shocked if Josh Jacobs comes back in 2023 if he plays well enough this season. Woof. We knew San Francisco would ultimately do something that would hurt Elijah Mitchell, but I had no idea they'd bring Ty Davis-Price down at the exact same time. Now, I've gone on record as an Elijah Mitchell detractor, but wait until you guys hear this. Of all the 2022 draft-eligible running back prospects, Price ranked number 56 overall in elusive rating with a score 110 full points lower than Dameon Pierce. Yes, you heard that correctly. He broke out late, his college target share was even lower than Kenneth Walker's, and his breakaway run rate as well as his yards after contact were both outside the top 64 runners last year. So I'm not sure how much Kool-Aid you have to drink to join the cult of Davis-Price followers, but I'd say throw on a diaper. It might be a weight. I can't explain this pick. Honestly, outside of his impressive athleticism, he brings almost nothing to the table. He is 100% the landmine they missed in the field after the war. Do not step on Davis-Price. Now, if he hadn't landed in Atlanta, I'm not sure any dynasty gamers would be this ecstatic about an average athlete who went in the 5th round to one of the league's absolute worst offensive line situations. But much like Dameon Pierce, the landing spot is soft, the athleticism is lacking, and the advanced metrics are beautiful. Believe it or not, Tyler Allgeier ranked number 2 in all of college football in yards after contact, just behind Kenneth Walker, and it doesn't stop there. On top of the tackle breaking, Allgeier actually boasts a 77th percentile college target share as well as an 84th percentile college dominator rating. So despite the fact that Allgeier is not more athletic than Zach Moss, he was performing on an individual level that was amongst the top 3 in this draft class. But I've been around the block long enough to know that when these players emerge, the sand in the hourglass will run out fast. So I love the idea of Allgeier in the late 2nd round of rookie drafts as long as the goal is to flip him the moment his time comes. I've been left holding the bag before, and there's nothing worse than watching the bottom fall out on a 5th round player from BYU. Ew. Could I have mentioned Isaiah Spiller's name earlier? Yeah, sure, but it's a matter of principle. He's one of the youngest players in the entire class at 20.8 years old. So if you want to make the case that he hasn't grown into his adult body yet and that's why he was so slow, then I say shoot your shot, Queen. After finishing 2021 top 20 in both missed tackles and carries of greater than 15 yards, it's somewhat surprising that he fell all the way into the middle of the 4th round. I mean, Spiller actually had a top 8 overall elusive rating in 2021 and 0 drops on 33 passing targets. But similar to a handful of names above him, if the NFL is going to invest in you as a project, it has to come with some level of impressive speed. I mean, look, they look past 2 ACL tears and 0 hands from Zamir White. And they welcomed Davis Price despite a complete inability at all to play the running back position, yet Isaiah Spiller fell like an anvil. However, if you're looking for some form of a silver lining, I guess you could cite the fact that the Los Angeles Chargers, despite having one of the league's most dynamic pass catchers, is actually a decent landing spot. With an always possible potential for injury to Austin Eckler, plus what should be a fair amount of goal line opportunities, Spiller might actually have a chance to return some value at his mid-second round ADP. Maybe. And last but certainly not least, we have age 23 Brian Robinson. If landing with the Washington Commanders wasn't enough to scare off fantasy gamers, then perhaps the idea of playing with a consensus top 10 dynasty running back in Antonio Gibson will be. Now, supposedly, Riverboat Ron has gone on record to say post-draft that Brian Robinson and Antonio Gibson will make a great little 1-2 punch. Right. I mean, hear me out. If Antonio Gibson could just barely crack the top 10 in overall fantasy points last season with one of the league's highest levels of volume, how are they going to coexist now?
Thank you!
Truth be told, this really only stands to hurt Antonio Gibson, as the likelihood that Brian Robinson was ever going to be a true fantasy producer in this offense was already low. But now Gibson may have lost his floor, and Robinson probably never realizes his NFL ceiling. And it's unfortunate because Robinson was actually pretty solid in 2021. After ranking number 9 overall in total yards after contact, he was also number 3 in missed tackles forced and top 7 in carries of greater than 15 yards. Bear in mind, this is all while ranking just number 17 overall amongst his 2022 draft-eligible running back class. So with 2 years left on Gibson's rookie deal, it's safe to say that Brian Robinson has the path of most resistance to fantasy relevance. And beating out Antonio Gibson before hitting age 25 is a tall order, like Shaq at Men's Warehouse. Now, if we're being honest with each other, this might not just be the worst running back class in a very long time, but also the worst landing spots. As the game continues to evolve into committee backfields with part-time players, it's going to take a special talent to lock down these significant snap share opportunities. This class had just 2 of them. So for those of you on the clock considering drafting a running back not named Breece Hall or Kenneth Walker, I say this to you: may God have mercy on your soul. Now, guys, again, if you're not a subscriber, if you like what you saw today, hit the subscribe button. Help me drive this group to the top. I want to build this community. Join the Discord chat. Thank you guys for checking it out. We'll see you next week.